All right, hi guys. So some of you are doing the makeup day down in the other end of the hallway and didn't get to come to health today. So I'm gonna go over what we went over today in class in case you missed it. And for anyone that was absent, this will be a good review too. We are talking about the reproductive system today. So we're gonna be going over the parts and how they work of the male and female reproductive system. No warm up or wrap up today. We're just gonna kind of get started. You have, or you should have, a packet of like 4 papers, okay? One of them is the definition sheet, okay? Another one is the male reproductive note-taking guide. You have the female reproductive note-taking guide, okay, and it says it up here, female reproductive system. And you have the diagram of the male and female reproductive system, okay? Now these things all match up. So we're gonna do male first. Number 1 on the male reproductive system diagram is number 1 on your note-taking guide. The definition is number 1 on your definition sheet. So they go in order. If number 2 on here, on this guide, is number 2 on your sheet and is number 2 on this sheet, okay? What you're gonna do is you're gonna write the definition from this paper into the box on this side, okay? Anything extra that I talk about that you'd like to write down in there, you may also do that as well, okay? So we're gonna kind of get started here. Okay. So, let me see the best way to do this. I think I'll just do like this. All right, the vas differens. All right, that's number 1 right here. So you can write vas differens right here. It's pointing to this tube, okay? It's a tube through which sperm travel to the seminal vesicles, and we'll talk about that more in just a minute. But you can kind of see right here, this number 1, this tube. It starts down here in the testicles where the sperm is made, and it moves all the way up and around, and it comes down through, and then it eventually leaves through the end of the penis. Okay, about this area, it changes from the vas deferens into the urethra, which we'll talk about in just a minute. Number 2 is the bladder. So this big egg-shaped thing right here is the bladder. And the urethra is number 4 here. It is what connects from the bladder, and then it turns into the same tube as the vas deferens right here. And it's what brings urine out of the body, okay? Number 3 is our penis, which is the external sex organ through which sperm leaves the body. Okay, sperm being our reproductive cell. And we just talked about the urethra. It's the tube that carries sperm and semen out of the body, okay? It also carries the urine out. So you saw that right here. Our seminal vesicles over here. That tube comes down, the tube from the bladder right here comes down, and they form into the same tube, which is the urethra, takes it out of the body. The vas deferens is the one that's right here, that connects down here to the testicle that produces the sperm. All right. Number 5 is the foreskin, and there's no definition because it's not on your test, but I did want to just point it out. The foreskin would normally cover up the tip of the penis. And what happens when babies are born, when male babies are born here in the United States, they have what's called a circumcision. And they will just remove that skin from the tip of the penis about a day after they're born, okay? If that skin is not removed, there continues to be a flap over the top of the penis, and anything that exits the penis, so either the sperm and the semen or the urine, would then need to be cleaned. They would have to kind of roll back that skin and clean out that area because urine and sperm and semen would get caught in there. So it's common practice here in the United States to just remove it so that boys don't have to worry about cleaning that area out. So that's the foreskin. All right, number 6 is our seminal vesicle, and it's this finger-like structure right over here. This produces the semen, okay? It's the glands that add fluid to sperm, producing semen. Semen is the thick white fluid that nourishes the sperm and keeps it alive. So during an ejaculation, what you actually see is the semen, and that's that white fluid. The sperm is inside there. Remember, there's between 300 million and 500 million sperm that come out with each ejaculation. They would not be able to stay alive without the semen, okay? So, and because the sperm are so tiny, you cannot see them. The white sticky fluid that you do see, that is the semen keeping the sperm alive. Okay, so you can see our vas deferens. It comes up around here. It's carrying the sperm. It connects right here to the seminal vesicle, and it picks up that semen to help keep the sperm alive. Okay, number 7 is this area right here. This is called the anus, which is just the end of the digestive system where solid waste would be removed from your body. There's no definition. I keep it on here so that we can talk about prostate exams when we talk about the prostate gland. So number 8 is the prostate, and that is this circle right here, okay? So you can see number 8 points right in there to that. The prostate gland also produces semen. This semen might be a little bit more clear in color, but it does the same thing and helps nourish and keep the sperm alive. Prostate cancer can be very prevalent in men, and it needs to be checked. So the prostate gland is checked about the time that men get to the age of 35 to 40. They should be going in for this prostate exam. And what will happen is, you see how close the anus is to this prostate gland. The doctor will use a finger or maybe a thumb and put it into the anus and feel for this prostate gland. If the prostate gland is swollen or enlarged, then they can do some more tests to make sure that it's not cancerous, okay? It's really important to keep up with those prostate checks and to make sure that it's all healthy and that there's nothing going on in your reproductive system, okay? All right, moving down to number 9. This is called the epididymis. Looks like a little hat or some hair on the top of this circle down here. Epididymis is where sperm is stored. Okay, so you see where sperm is stored right here on top of number 10, which is the testis or the testicle. The male reproductive gland that produces sperm and the hormone testosterone, because testosterone is what starts puberty in boys, right? So testosterone is made here in the testicle, sperm is made here in the testicle. When sperm is made, it goes up into this area right here, and then it will come when needed. It will go through the vas deferens around, pick up the semen from the seminal vesicle and from the prostate gland, and then it joins in with the urethra from the bladder, and the urethra is what takes the sperm and semen out of the body, okay? Only when the penis is in an erected state, right? This is the normal state of the penis. So this is the man's legs right here, okay? So the penis would normally lay down close to the legs of the body. This is a normal state. Only urine can leave the body when the penis is in a normal state. Only if the penis is in an erected state, in which case the penis would be standing out straight this way. That's what erected means. Only when it's in an erected state can semen and sperm leave through the end of the penis. So urine and sperm and semen cannot leave the body at the same time, even though they share the same tube, okay? Only one or the other. All right, and sperm is the male reproductive cell. We should already have that in our notes. Okay, the last one is number 11, which is the scrotum. The scrotum is the skin that covers and protects the testes. It allows for temperature control to keep the sperm alive. So what happens is the scrotum, which is the sac of skin right here, when the male is hot, this scrotum will loosen and kind of drop down away from the body to cool off in order to keep the sperm at the right temperature to stay alive. When it's cold, like when you're swimming or any other time that you might be cold, what will happen is the scrotum will squint up closer to the body in order to feel the body's heat and keep the sperm at that same temperature and keep the sperm alive, okay? So this is the male reproductive system. And now we're going to move on to the female reproductive system. So as you should have been writing down those definitions in each box as we went through the male reproductive system. Now we're going to do the same thing on here with the female reproductive system. Okay, so you'll turn your paper over, right? Again, number 1 is the same on here as it is on here. So you have number one, and you'll use that in your note-taking guide. You'll be writing this definition into this box right here. Same for number 2. You'll write the number 2 definition into this box right here, okay? All right, so number 1, the ovum. is the female reproductive cell or the egg cell. So you'll hear it called both. Ovum, you might hear it called ova, but that is the female reproductive cell or the egg cell. Okay, so that's number 1. They reside, we're going to kind of skip. I'm going to skip over here to number 4, which is the ovary. So number 4, it says the female reproductive organ that produces the egg cells. And they don't actually produce the egg cells. Women are born with all of the cells that they're ever going to have. They don't actually make egg cells, but the ovaries help mature the egg cells so that they're ready for reproduction. And what happens with females is they will release one egg once a month from one side. So one ovary might release this month, and then this ovary would release next month. One reproductive cell, okay? Once all of the female's reproductive cells are gone, then a female can no longer have babies. And they go through a thing called menopause, right? And that's when there is no more egg cells, the woman stops having their period, and they can no longer have babies. And this happens usually about 50, okay? Somewhere in the vicinity of late 40s, early 50s is when that normally happens. So there's 2 ovaries, okay? There's one on this side and there's one on this side. And inside the ovaries are the egg cells. Once the egg cell has been matured, it will be released into number 2, which is the fallopian tube. And there are 2 fallopian tubes. There's one on this side and one on that side. And it's a pair of tubes through which the ovum will pass from the ovaries into the uterus. So this is the uterus. This diagram shows you the female's reproductive system. In your body, this would be sitting about an inch or 2 below your belly button, okay? So a baby is not housed in a mother's stomach. A baby is housed in the mother's uterus. So the ovum will release when it's mature. Now you're going to have what's called ovulation. You will release one cell through the fallopian tube and down here into the uterus, which is number 5. The uterus would be considered the womb, or where a baby will develop during pregnancy. Okay? If the egg cell was met with a sperm cell here in the fallopian tube, it will implant on the side of the uterus and it will begin to grow into a pregnancy.